Yo, what's going on, PC gamers? Cult of Mush back at it with another video, a $600 gaming PC build. Let's get right into this with the CPU of the build. For the CPU, I went with the Intel Core i3-4160 3.6GHz dual-core CPU. It also has hyper-threading for $104. This is a pretty solid dual-core CPU for the money. Obviously, it's not very efficient in things like video editing and rendering and live streaming, but this is primarily a gaming build, so I went with the parts that I think would work the best for gaming performance. Now, it was brought to my attention that games like Far Cry 4 and Dragon Age 3 will not work anymore on a dual-core CPU that doesn't have hyper-threading. I don't know if that's a bug right now that they're trying to fix, or if that's just the new thing that games are doing, but it definitely seems like more and more gaming developers are phasing out dual core CPUs, so I went with one that also has hyper-threading, which pretty much makes each single core also have a virtual core, effectively making this kind of like a mock quad core, not really to the performance of, say, a quad core with 4 physical cores, but you get the idea. For $104, I thought this was a pretty solid deal in the build. It didn't break the bank too badly, and it still allowed us to spend more money on the video card, which is still the crux of the build as far as gaming performance goes. For the motherboard, I went with the ASRock H97M Pro 4 motherboard. This is a micro ATX board, so obviously no SLI or Crossfire configurations on this motherboard. But if you're a budget gamer that's looking to only spend $600, that's probably not something you're looking to do anyway, so that should be just fine. It has 4 RAM slots. This is a pretty cheap motherboard at $65. It has all the features you want. A couple other side things that are pretty cool, but again, for a $65 motherboard, you're not getting everything in the world, but this is definitely going to get the job done. And ASRock makes some decent motherboards. Their motherboards are actually pretty underrated in my opinion. They got a nice warranty policy and decent customer support, so I always like ASRock motherboards. They're pretty good. For the memory, I went with G.Skill Ripjaws X Series, 8GB, 2 4GB sticks running at 1600 MHz, $55 right now. RAM prices are coming lower and lower. Finally, it's about time. I don't know if this is just a swing for the holiday season, or if this is gonna be the new norm thing where you can get 8GB for $55, but who cares? Buy it soon, because $55 for 8GB is really fucking good right now, especially considering a week ago, this same kit of RAM was like $70, $75, and 8GB can go as high as $90, so $55 for 8GB of RAM is perfect. I think that's a great price. No need to get any more, but like I said earlier, the motherboard does have 4 RAM slots. This kit has 2 RAM sticks, so in the future, if you do want to go for a 16GB configuration, you do have that option open. Right now, for a budget gamer, it just doesn't make any sense, so 8GB is going to be more than enough, especially considering a lot of games still recommend 4GB to run, so 8GB is way more than enough. For the hard drive, I went with the Western Digital Caviar Blue 1TB. $50 for a 1TB drive is a damn good deal. Obviously, no SSD in this build, just didn't make a lot of sense. Rather would go with that mass storage for $50, and this is a crazy good deal in my opinion. If you do the math, you're spending like 5 cents a gigabyte, so just think about that. That's a crazy good deal. And a terabyte seems to be good for most of you guys, but even if you do want to pick up a 2 or 3 terabyte drives, think about this. A 2 terabyte drive is like $70, and a 3 terabyte drive is like $90. That's crazy good in my opinion, and mass storage has never been this cheap, so real cool to see. And yeah, this 1 terabyte drive is definitely a good deal for $50 on Newegg right now. For the graphics card, I went with the XFX R9 280X 3GB Black Edition Double Dissipation video card, $220 after a $30 mail-in rebate. The R9 280X is a perfect video card for 1080p gaming. You're going to be able to max out most titles and get 40 to 50, even 60 frames per second. Like I've always said, there's a couple anomalies like, you know, Metro Last Light maxed out. That's kind of impossible to run. Witcher 2 with Uber sampling, that's really hard to run. So, you know, there are those anomalies out there which I don't think ever will be solved unless you have a really high-end build, but nonetheless, you're going to get really good performance out of this card, especially on games like Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3, Battlefield Hardline coming out. Witcher 2 will still run well, you just have to turn off Uber sampling, which honestly, in my opinion, doesn't change how the game looks too much. So, yeah, the R9 280X is a very good video card. You also get a couple free games with it. I won't go into that too much, but you guys can look that up yourselves. You can actually get a couple decent games with the card for free just for buying it, so that's a really good value in my opinion. For the power supply, EVGA 600-watt 80-plus bronze certified power supply, $45 after a $15 mail-in rebate. Obviously, since we're not even going to think about a Crossfire or SLI configuration in this build, it doesn't make sense to go for anything higher, considering the motherboard, it won't even allow you to go for a Crossfire configuration. So, in my opinion, 600 watt was perfectly fine, and it's going to power the build no problem. The R9 280X is fairly power efficient for a high-end video card, and the Core i3 obviously uses little to no power at all, so that should be just fine. I mean, if I had to estimate, this PC's max power usage would probably be like 450 to 500 watts, and we got a 600 watts, so this should be just fine. Finally, for the case, I went with the Corsair 200R mid-tower case, $50, kind of basic on the exterior, but that's not what matters. The interior is what matters, and it gets the job done pretty good. A lot of room, a lot of ventilation. You're gonna have a lot of space for upgradability options, extra hard drives, things of that nature, and it's only $50, so I thought this was a really good mid-tower case on Amazon right now. And thanks for watching this video, guys. Remember to hit that subscribe button, like this video, comment with your suggestions for future videos. I'm always open to new ideas, so yeah, let me know, and I will catch you guys later. Peace!